Family drama, but it keeps getting more insane. We saved the craziest for last. My parents are uninvited from my wedding, and I couldn't be happier. Good riddance. I'm so thankful this damn nightmare is over. Ooh, tell us. My parents are finally uninvited from my wedding, along with anything else engagement related, and I am so relieved. From start to finish, my parents have tried doing everything in their power to make me as miserable as possible. The last semester has been tough on my fiance and me. Little did either of us know about the poop show my parents had in store for us. First, my mother was pissed that I wanted to have a wedding abroad because
the whole family should be there,
including people I haven't talked to in 15 years. Okay. Then my dad said his experience was tainted because my fiance had a conversation with me about being ready for marriage before asking for his blessing, as if this is the one getting married and not me. Then, of course, there was the engagement dinner. My God, don't get me started. All I did was ask my parents to combine our families for one holiday. One holiday. Well, my parents said no and turned down my in-laws' invitation. The reason? I wouldn't apologize for missing my mother's extravagant birthday that I couldn't afford. That's a whole other story. Then, as if they couldn't cause more problems, my fiance drove 8 hours, got a hotel room, planned months in advance, only for my father to refuse to give him his blessing. I mean, it kind of sounds to me like they're not supportive of this relationship. Which begs the question, why do they even want to be at the wedding anyway? During the entire interaction, my father asked completely stupid and irrelevant questions that had nothing to do with our relationship. I won't go into the whole spiel, but I'll give you this. My father was so delusional that he had the gall to ask my fiance,
"If my daughter asks you to lie to me, would you?"
Ooh, that sounds like a power play. My fiance responded,
"Well, I'm going to stand by my wife, so yes, I would."
My father called him deceitful, started yelling, and threw a whole tantrum in a public restaurant. Okay. My partner and I have never been so infuriated in our lives. My father wasted our time and money over a blessing he was crying about in the first place. I would say that he wanted the blessing to kind of see if he could keep your fiance under his thumb. I don't really think that it was about doing the honorable thing. After this, I was done with the whole circus of a family. I completely cut off both of my parents because I refuse to have people in my life who can't get a grip. Thankfully, revenge is a dish best served cold. Lucky for me, narcissists hate being embarrassed, especially by elders in the family. My great aunt, who's my absolute heart, ripped them a new one. When my mother tried to cry to her about how disrespectful my fiance was, my aunt immediately wanted to know what question my dad asked. When my mom told her, she said,
"What kind of a ass question is that?" Of course that was going to be his answer. I don't know a single adult who would have answered differently.
My mom tried to double down and said my aunt wasn't being fair, and my aunt responded,
"What do you mean? That is fair. You had that man go all the way down there only to set him up with BS questions. In fact, where is Dad's childhood nickname? I want to speak to Dad's childhood nickname."
That also kind of sounds like a power play. Pause. If you don't know, if an elder asks to speak to you and they use your childhood nickname, you are now in danger because that means they plan on putting you in a child's place. It's even better if there was a nickname that they were bullied with. My mom was so stunned, she made up an excuse and quickly hung up. It was glorious. It got even better because since things went so terribly with my great aunt, I haven't heard a peep from any of the family. My parents got checked so badly, they had been too embarrassed to tell anyone else. Also, thankfully, where I lack in biological parents, I've gained 2 incredible in-laws who mean the world to me. They cheer for me so loudly that I don't even notice who's missing in the stands. Oh, that's good. You deserve that. Okay, we all deserve a support system like that. After everything my parents did, I didn't get the old, but they're your only parents, or maybe you're misunderstanding them. Instead, they sent a long message saying how much they love both of us and how proud they are of me. They told me not to worry about my parents because they already see me as the daughter they never had. They even said they would foot the bill for our entire wedding. And I just couldn't be happier with my future and my new family. So yes, while it is disappointing at first, this experience has been incredibly wonderful. I'm now finally engaged to the love of my life. Regardless of everything, the proposal was perfect, and I can't wait to announce it over the holidays. Cutting off my parents was the best decision I've ever made, and I feel like I'm finally free. I know I'm supposed to feel empty, but I don't. All I feel is love. P.S. If you are thinking of uninviting your narc family, this is your sign to do it. As fast as you possibly can. I think so many family members fail to realize that we are not obligated to have a relationship with you if you treat us like garbage. Okay? If you're enjoying this video and you like the videos on this channel, smash that subscribe button, why don't you? We have some more family drama for you, and it gets crazier by the second. It is time to thank the sponsor of this video, BOMBAS. It has been 2 months since the gripper slippers entered my life. And I can tell you what a joy these last 2 months have been. These gripper slippers are the only thing stopping me from booking a one-way ticket to somewhere warm for the rest of winter. They are the perfect blend of a sock and a slipper. You can throw them in the wash like a sock, travel with them, put them on your hands. Maybe not that one. The point is, these gripper slippers have not left my feet except to shower and to sleep and occasionally go outside, which isn't often because it's literally snowing ice pellets right now. You know, it's actually funny. As soon as I took these off, my feet are cold. BOMBAS is a fantastic company. They have great products and they have a one purchased, one donated policy, which means for every product that's purchased, they donate one item. They've donated 150 million clothing items to date, and their products come with a 100% happiness guarantee. If you want to treat your feet like royalty, pick up the BOMBAS gripper slippers. New customers get 20% off their first order. Just use code Charlotte Dobre at checkout. Once again, thank you so much to BOMBAS for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. Am I the a-hole for leaving Christmas dinner after my uncle wouldn't stop making jokes about me being unemployed? Oh, this one hits close to home. Oh, you may be seated. 30s male here. I've been out of work for a bit and I'm actively looking, doing interviews, all that. It's not a secret, but I also don't really want it to be the main topic at family stuff. We had a family dinner this weekend. I went, brought a bottle and dessert, was polite, helped clear plates, tried to just get through it. My uncle, 50s, started with the usual,
So, when are you getting a real job then?
type comments. I did the normal laugh it off thing and said I'm on it. He kept going all night. Stuff like,
Must be nice having a permanent holiday.
and
Maybe Santa can bring you a CV.
and
You should try working instead of sitting on that computer.
people laughed. Nobody told him to stop. I hate to say it, but I feel like they're all talking about you. Just saying. If they're all laughing about it, it just means that, like, he's doing it for an audience, right? An audience where he gets the laughs. After the 4th or 5th comment, I said calmly, "Can you drop it? I'm here for dinner, not to be roasted." He replied something like,
Oh, come on, it's just banter. Don't be so sensitive.
I mean, listen, banter is fine until someone says, "Can you, like, not?" Yeah, like, I'd just prefer if you didn't. Sorry to ruin your fun, but I don't find it very fun. At that point, I got up and said, right, I'm heading off. Merry Christmas, everyone, and left. Now, my mom is saying I embarrassed her and I should have just ignored him because that's how he is, and it made things awkward for everyone. I mean, your mother kind of pandering, sort of saying that, like, what your uncle was doing was fine, says to me that she's part of the problem. Like, I'm just saying. I think he can f himself. Am I the a-hole for leaving instead of sitting there and taking it? Listen, as someone who, like, not lately, I know how you feel. It's not the same thing necessarily being an artist at these things. It is similar. It's similar to be like a creative person and to like be doing freelance and stuff and to go to like family gatherings and then they ask you like all kinds of like weird questions because they just don't understand, right? They don't understand why you would choose that life as opposed to a life with security, job security, employment, money security. Obviously, it worked out for me. For a lot of people, it doesn't work out. That being said, I'm used to it. I honestly felt like you could have also said something in response. Like you didn't have to leave. I feel like you also could have like, you know, I thought it was just banter. You know, you could have like said something spicy to him like,
You getting your hair transplant?
or like, is it an a-hole thing to do? Yeah. But then if they get mad, it's like,
Well, I thought we were joking around here. Don't be so sensitive.
that's another way for them to get the point, you know, because people who dish oftentimes they can't really take it. There's lots of guys like this. Mike's been in situations before where like his friends are, kind of just poking. And then his response is actually to like bring up the thing that friend is most insecure about. And most of the time the friend stops, but like it's part of like a wider problem. So like it might help in the moment to sort of do the banter thing. I personally don't think you're the a-hole. You can't really go wrong. I just kind of wish that you said something in response that made him feel bad. I don't think you're the a-hole also because I do genuinely feel like they're all talking about this behind your back. You're doing what you can. You can't just make a job appear out of nowhere. It's tough out there. I think that they need to know that you're not going to be about it. You're not just going to sit there and take it. You set the boundary. He made fun of you for it. So you left. I don't think you can really go wrong. I think in this instance, you got to stick up for yourself. But let's see what everybody else had to say. That is how they are is enabler language for your feelings don't matter. Yes, it's a lot of people's excuse. Well, that's how they are. It's how they are. Well, did you ever think that maybe they're that way because no one's ever told them to stop? She is embarrassed. Why? She has a child with a spine who won't put up with continued disrespect. A joke, fine. When asked to stop, you stop. You don't stop, it's disrespect. Good luck with the job hunt. Agreed. Not the a-hole. Right? Why should he just take it? Why doesn't anyone tell the uncle to cut it out? Not the a-hole. I genuinely feel like they're all saying the same thing. The uncle's just the only one that's saying it out loud. Here's another possibility. It's also because maybe they don't want to be the next target, so they laugh along. That could also be a possibility. It could be you were just the flavor of the month. And they were just relieved that it wasn't them. So they'll let you be the scapegoat and they'll let you be made fun of because they don't want that kind of attention on themselves. But here's a better way of dealing with it. Rather than just letting people get made fun of, you guys don't like it, just tell them to stop. Not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for stealing my sister-in-law's wedding date? Stealing is in quotations. This was posted to the Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit. Hey everyone, I'm new here. I was told to post on this sub if I was looking for genuine feedback, which I am. I, 25 female, am engaged to my fiance, 32 male, since last October. We've been preparing our wedding for months now. My sister-in-law, 32 female, we'll call her S, has been very involved and helped me a lot. She went dress shopping with me, cake tasting, gave me vendor contacts, and knew all the details of our wedding. I don't have a sister and I'm not from this city. All my family lives hundreds of kilometers from here and I really don't have close friends, only coworkers. So I really appreciated having her support. Now, my fiance and fiance's family are not really religious, but in our culture, a lot of people are a little superstitious. One of these superstitions is the evil eye. Ooh. It is the belief that when people envy you or even know too much about your plans, it can bring bad luck and things can go wrong. I honestly totally believe in this. There's also a reason there's an evil eye over there. I don't know if you can see it. And also another thing, you can't buy your own evil eye. So if you get like a little pendant, some sort of evil eye, you can't buy it yourself. It has to be a gift. I totally believe in that stuff, by the way. That's why I keep one right there, even though you can't see it. It's behind me, protecting me. Because of this, some people prefer to not talk about their plans until everything is done. Very good practice. Have you ever noticed that when you talk about your plans, sometimes they fall through? I don't like to talk about plans until the ink is dry. You know what I mean? Not interested in talking about it. It's nobody's business until it's official. S believes in this a lot. She never tells you anything in advance. If she buys a car, you see it once it's parked outside. If she's trying for a promotion, she tells you only after she gets it. Okay, this is good, I feel. But it's also, let me guess, the wedding date? Her wedding date? This didn't bother me before, but last year it started to hurt. She hid her pregnancy for 7 months. She's always avoided me with excuses like being sick and contagious or busy or out of town. I only found out because her fiance told mine by accident. She officially told me when she was already 8 months pregnant. She also said they didn't know the baby's gender, but again, her fiance already told mine. She didn't even tell us when she gave birth. We found out 2 weeks later. Ooh, okay. To some degree, like I get kind of keeping your cards close to the chest, but like with things like this, especially like as the lies start to pile up, I'm not a fan of that. I think it's like customary to keep it to yourself for the first trimester. It is what it is, right? Because like there's more chances of losing the baby in the first trimester, so people don't like to say it. But yeah, like if I were getting like really close to someone and that person was like not telling me really important news and then, you know, kind of bailing on plans and lying, you just start to think about all the times that they like lied to protect that piece of information, and it would bother me. Like, I'm not gonna lie. This really makes me feel like she thinks I can't be happy for her. Ooh, yeah, when you think about it from the evil eye perspective, it's like, why do you not want to tell me? Yeah, like I'd be reading into it too, honestly. What hurts me is that she asks me about every detail of my life and I share openly, but she hides very important things from me because she's afraid I will envy her or bring bad luck. Ooh, this is sus. Why does she feel like that if she's not like that? I'm just saying, if you go around in life, you know, I'm starting to be a little bit more open with people. I think that there was like a study that was done that the most popular people and the most likable people like growing up in high school had one thing in common. It's that they also liked other people. They had a lot of friends. They were always saying hi to people. You know, they had this air of like, they also liked people, which made people like them. If you go around in life thinking the worst of people, I just genuinely feel like maybe that's also a reflection of you too. No? Yeah. I spoke about this many times with my fiance, but he always says it's not a big deal and that's just how she was raised. Keep in mind, no one in his family's like this. Not his mother, not his uncle and aunts or cousins. She's the only one with this weird fixation. Okay, I would also like maybe talk to her about this weird fixation. Maybe there's another reason why she didn't share. I don't know. Like, let's make sure. You know, when I started my wedding planning, S asked to be my bridesmaid. Because I don't have family here and I felt close to her, I accepted. She really helped me a lot and I was grateful. She mentioned that she and her fiance were planning their wedding for March, around 2 months after ours. She said helping me gave her many ideas. Okay. I offered to help her too, but she's always said things
Like, I'm not planning anything big, or I didn't start yet.
4 months before her wedding, she was still saying she didn't start planning. I already expected that she wouldn't include me more and I would receive the invitation at the last minute as usual. Then something happened. I went to choose our wedding invitations in a very well-known shop in our city. I was really overwhelmed by the amount of designs and invites available, and the employee noticed. She offered to show me an album with their best sellers already printed invites. While looking at them, I suddenly saw an invitation with S's name and her fiance's name on it. It had a wedding date. Okay, my jaw dropped. What's happening here? I asked the employee and she said these are customers' invites that were previously printed for their customers. Here was her wedding invite, planned to take place 1 week before mine. I was shocked. She was clearly planning her wedding and didn't tell anyone in the family. Worse is she knew our date and chose to have her wedding the week before. The same day, my henna was set to take place, an event to which S was already invited. Ooh. Okay, I don't love that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, sometimes you can't really control wedding dates. Like, I'll just say that out loud, especially if it's like at a specific venue. But like, why is she keeping it from you? She clearly won't be able to go and she's your bridesmaid. Okay, yeah, no, this is weird. Maybe she's afraid of disappointing you, or she's a little cray-cray. At that moment, I knew if I told my fiance, he would excuse her again. My head was racing and I acted without thinking too much. I called our venue and asked if they had another date available the week before. They did, on a Friday, 1 day before the date I saw on her invitation. Oh. The venue was happy to change it because it would free a Saturday for them. Now, I'm not proud of this, but I called my fiance and lied to him and told him there was a problem with the venue schedule and that Friday was the only date available. He was worried some people might not be able to free a Friday for the wedding, but I said I would manage everything with the guests and vendors. Ooh, okay, interesting. This is a little spicy, babe. Oh. Most vendors came with the venue, flowers, catering, music, so I wasn't really worried. Everything happened very fast and I confirmed the new date and asked the invites to be printed. Last week, we received them and we hand-delivered the invitations to his family during Sunday dinner. When S saw the invitation, she lost it. She started screaming, crying, and accusing us of changing the date on purpose. I mean, you kind of did, but like, why does that bother her so much is what I want to know. She called me a snake and that we planned this behind everyone's back. I mean, call me crazy, but it kind of sounds like she did that first. No one understood why she was reacting like this because she didn't tell anyone about her wedding. When her fiance arrived and saw the invites, he immediately understood what was happening. He asked her to leave, but she kept screaming. Since then, she's been crashing out online, sending angry messages in the family WhatsApp group and calling my fiance, asking him to change our wedding date. I feel guilty because I lied not only to them, but my future husband. But at the same time, I feel relieved I won't have to cancel all my pre-wedding events. Oh, so you would have to cancel it. Here's the thing. I'm assuming that this is a Hindu wedding. There's a bunch of events that are leading up to it. Essentially, what the sister-in-law did was plan it so that no one would be able to attend her sister-in-law's events because her wedding is on that date. Huh. Ooh, this is spicy. Like, don't get me wrong, bestie. You were petty. Like, you didn't have to change that. You didn't have to change your wedding date to be petty, but I understand why you did. So I feel relieved I won't have to cancel all my pre-wedding events, have my family in-laws miss all the joint family events because her wedding will be the priority, and spend the week before my wedding dealing with tasks about her wedding photos and all kinds of comparisons. Also, interestingly, you didn't share whether or not you were also a bridesmaid to her wedding. So I'm wondering if she knew all along that you probably wouldn't be able to attend her wedding or something. I don't know. So, am I the a-hole for changing my wedding date and sabotaging my sister-in-law's secret wedding? What should I do to amend the situation? I feel trapped and past the point of no return. Any advice? I mean, this is definitely a different kind of story, I'm not gonna lie. First of all, you did act rashly, okay, bestie? You did. You did change your wedding date, but I also kind of understand why you did. I don't think it's possible to steal a wedding date that you weren't even supposed to know about to begin with. Her reaction is a bit sus, isn't it? Like, why would she get so mad if it wasn't something that she was trying to hide and she had this whole plan going along with it? The real snake got out-snaked. She was collecting all your info but not reciprocating, all the while bringing the evil eye into the mix herself. That's the ticket. She created the bad vibes. No one seems to hold her accountable, and you can rely on your fiance or anyone else to prevent her from sabotaging your wedding, not the a-hole. Honestly, like, I totally agree with that. Like, yes, you did do something kind of petty. If you hadn't done that, then your wedding would have been ruined. So I get why you did it. Yes, it did sabotage her wedding. I mean, you could just play dumb and be like, sorry, you didn't tell me you were getting married. I changed the date because like this, then, or the other, like, you know? Why didn't you tell me about your wedding date? You know, just let her answer the question. Let people dig themselves a hole, a nice little grave. I don't know if I will be the minority, but you moved in the shadows, not the a-hole. You definitely did. I hope Charlotte reads this, not the a-hole. She withheld information. How can she prove anything about purposeful date switching when everyone knows how she is? I would suggest sitting your fiance down and having a talk with him about his sister and her shenanigans. Yes. It would be good to have like one big chat, like all together and just, you know, play dumb. Just be like,
So when were you going to tell us about your wedding date? Because I didn't know. Why didn't you tell us if it was so important that that was your wedding date? You know, if you had said something, I wouldn't have changed my wedding date. But you didn't.
It sounds to me like she keeps her cards closed because she's worried about other people doing exactly what she does, ruin the celebrations. Remember when I said, not so long ago, that like people who like think the worst of others, like it's a reflection of them? Like, why are you so worried about that if that's not how you operate, you know? It's kind of like when people consistently accuse you of cheating and they don't trust you. And like a lot of the times they turn out to be cheaters themselves. It's because they engage in the behavior that they call other people out about. I'm gonna go with not the a-hole. You did move in the shadows, bestie, but I think you had the right to. Am I the a-hole for not helping my brother save his marriage? Little backstory. About 9 years ago, my sister-in-law found out that my brother was having an emotional affair with a coworker. OT, okay. All hell broke loose, but eventually she stayed with him. They purchased a home close to 15 years ago in my brother's name. They got a 15-year mortgage, and this year they should be finishing paying off their home. A few days ago, my brother contacted my mom while having a panic attack. Turns out that during the period when he was having the emotional affair, he refinanced their home and got $50,000. He gave $20,000 to his affair partner. And used $30,000 to purchase an AC unit, pay toward their vehicle, and do home renovations. He was hoping that my sister-in-law would not think about the deed and he would continue to pay the mortgage for the 30 years without her noticing. But she only began saying how she can't wait to have that deed in her hands and see the mortgage balance. So now he's completely freaking out that if she finds out what he did, she'll divorce him. Yeah. He definitely should have shared that with his wife, who I'm sure he promised he wouldn't lie to anymore. Yeah, I wouldn't hold this person's hand either. It kind of sounds like they have like a history of not only infidelity, but like not being trustworthy. Not to mention he gave $20,000 to his affair partner. Oh. Part of what he's tried to fix the situation has been gambling to see if he could win it big. And now he's practically calling my mom every day, wanting her to put my parents' dad mid-70s, mom mid-60s home as collateral for a $100,000 loan so he could use that money to pay off most of the remaining $140,000 balance for myself and my parents to co-sign a loan for that amount, for him to get a loan and for us to give him at least $500 a month so he can pay the monthly bill. And the latest is for my mom to get a reverse mortgage on the home and give him that money. Okay, no. So he wants you to also be complicit in his actions. But not only be complicit, it sounds like he wants you to bear some of the responsibility of his bad choices. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's gonna be a no from me, dog. For the last one, my mom is worried that if she passes away, my dad and I will be left homeless and on the street. His workaround is get a life insurance policy to help pay to keep the home if she passes. My mom is worried. What if at some point my brother cannot pay the policy, and then if she passes away, my dad and I could be left homeless? My brother said that him getting that policy is him thinking of us and not just about himself, and that this would fix his problem so he can continue to lie. I have this problem. I cheated on my wife and gave my affair partner $20,000 and didn't tell my wife that I also refinanced our home, and now I have a gambling problem, and now I want everybody else in my life to deal with it so I won't have to tell my wife that I fucked up. Am I understanding that correctly? My mom's worried about the other previous loans because if some point my brother couldn't pay the loan, we would still lose the home. And with my dad retiring soon, income will be even more lessened. Honestly, you don't have to come up with all of these excuses. You don't need to do this for your brother. Mom has been worrying and crying because she wants to help so badly, but it's not feasible. I have student loans, a car payment, medical loans, and credit card debt, so I'm no help either. We also don't have family or close friends with that type of money who could help. We've told him more than once that he needs to come clean, apologize so much for what he did, admit his mistake, and do the adult right thing, but he refuses. For him, that's not an option no matter what. So would I be the a-hole for not helping my brother cover up what he did and save his marriage? He's making it your problem, though. There's some people who clearly operate from a not my circus, not my monkey kind of standpoint. I personally think that still makes you the a-hole. OP, just saying. I kind of wish that you would have said something sooner, honestly, but I can understand the whole he's your brother, I don't want to, sabotage his marriage or whatever, but let's be honest here, he's sabotaging his own marriage. Now it's also affecting you. So you wouldn't be the a-hole at all. I really wish that you had told his wife. But again, it's also not your problem to fix. There's nothing to save. He destroyed it. Let the sister-in-law find someone better. Wouldn't you want a more decent partner with integrity? I think the reason why your brother isn't saying anything is because he knows that if he does, the marriage is over. I bet you anything that a condition of them staying together was that if she finds out he didn't cheat again, but he did lie. He's lying about a lot of things. Honestly, she does deserve better, and I think he knows that. But if he admits to it, I think that the marriage for sure will be over. There's no coming clean and maybe she'll forgive him. She won't. Number one, it wasn't just an emotional affair with that amount spent. That is a very good point. It is very likely that he just said it was an emotional affair because I'm sorry, who is giving $20,000 to someone who's having an emotional affair with them? He should have come clean when she knew he cheated, but he's continued to lie. 3, he risked more money gambling instead of coming clean. This relationship is over and nothing you do is gonna save it. Doing anything other than protecting your mom is just enabling him and letting himself dig himself deeper. Protect your mother. And also hold your brother to a higher standard too. Don't enable him anymore. You're not being a good sister. Let this cycle of bad decisions and lying end. Okay, starts with one really bad lie, and then I'm sure that it just kept going and going and going until now it's just there's no saving it. Am I the a-hole for not helping my brother save his marriage? You will be the a-hole if you do help him save his marriage. Am I the a-hole for refusing my mother-in-law move into my home? This was also posted to the Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit. Hello, fellow potatoes. I'm a recovering people pleaser and I need help. My husband, 27 male, and I, Julie, 27 female, got married in August of 2024 and bought our first home in December of 2024. My husband moved to my state in 2023 when I was still living with my mom. My mom let him move in rent-free and didn't expect much from him because she wanted us to be able to save for our wedding and our new home. Okay. From December 23 to December 2024, we lived with my mom. In December of 2024, my husband started feeling really lonely and homesick because he had no family nearby. He begged me to let his brother, 24 male, move in with us. I was hesitant because he originally wanted to move away from family, yet now wanted his brother living with us. Okay. He also kept pressuring me to buy a house because interest rates were going up, which is why we rushed into buying. I like our home, but I do wish we hadn't rushed the process. I wanted to finally live alone with my husband. Okay. My husband would cry some nights and tell me how much he missed his family. Eventually, I gave in. Within 2 weeks of agreeing, his brother moved in. Don't get me wrong, he's a pretty chill guy and I actually enjoy his company, but nothing compares to living alone with your husband. Yeah. I like having house guests. I have the privilege of having a home where I can host my family if they do decide to visit. Happy to do that with friends. You know, if a friend is in a bind, you know, I have a place so I can help out people. But it is so sweet when they finally leave, isn't it? It's only supposed to be temporary. Really, nothing does compare to like just being alone with your husband. That's probably gonna change eventually, but like for now, it's really nice. My brother-in-law pays the utilities and helps with groceries, around $400 to $500 a month. Okay, that was gonna be my next question, because like, bestie, if he's moving in and not paying for anything, I don't love that. I told my husband I wanted to help him build savings so he'd be in a good place when he moved out. Well, that's very nice of you. My husband decided his brother would only live with us for 2 years max. That's a long time. I agreed because we're not planning on having kids soon, and that was part of why I wanted our space to ourselves. A year ago, my mother-in-law wanted to move in with her husband and her mother-in-law to my house. I guess they saw that our house has a lot of rooms and thought it would be a great idea to stay with us. I put my foot down finally and said no. Just because the house has a lot of rooms, that does not mean that those rooms are just like up for grabs. My husband brings up how he tolerated living with my family for a year, so why can't I tolerate living with his? I beg your finest pardon. Tolerated. Didn't your family like help him out when he couldn't afford to like live alone? Your mom let him move in rent-free and didn't expect much from him because she wanted you to be able to save for your wedding and your new home. So I'm sorry, he tolerated living rent-free in your parents' house? That's not the same thing. I'm not loving this, bestie. The thing is, his mom has never really done anything for me. Yeah, see, it would make sense if like your mother-in-law hosted you in the same way that your mom hosted him. I don't really understand this like, oh, well, we live with your family, so now let's live with mine. It's not the same thing. I've stayed at her house maybe 4 days total. She didn't help with the wedding at all, not even flipping tortillas while my mom was running around doing everything. Our wedding was budget friendly, but beautiful. My whole family helped. Aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone pitched in and had fun. His family had to travel to my state, but they mostly sat down and left early. They sound kind of like freeloaders, I ain't gonna lie. Even his younger brother, the one that lives with us now, and his close cousin left for 3 hours during the wedding to go sightseeing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we'll just be here when you get back.
When we were dating, I brought my family twice to their state so they could meet his mom. Both times, she bailed after confirming with me the day before. The excuses were that she was working or she felt sick. When I told my husband it bothered me that she left my family hanging twice, he said he can't force his mom to meet my family, and maybe she just didn't want to. I'm not gonna lie, honey, I'm not really a fan of how your husband is conducting himself through this entire thing. And I say that with love. I'm just saying. When my husband moved to my state, I would send his mom pictures of him doing different things, thinking she might be worried about him. I sent her photos of his first car, him getting ready for his first day at his new job, and of us with our first puppy. I got nothing back. No thanks, no comment, not even a thumbs up. After 2 months, I gave up. Fast forward to September 2025. My husband, my brother-in-law, and I went to his state to visit family. We stayed at a family ranch for a few days. I finally got to socialize with his cousins and actually got along with some of them. However, his mom always complains about her ex, my husband's father. I honestly wanted to build a relationship with him, but my husband and his brother don't like him. His mom tells stories about him, but in the most awkward way, she also shows off how she tried so hard to maintain a relationship between her sons and their dad. Okay. She talks about how she worked triple shifts to buy him a car so he could take the boys on weekends, and how she packed lunches for them because he had no money and her kids would go hungry. But my husband describes those weekends as full of abuse. He did say dad would drink and let them go hungry. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Okay. Then his mom brags about how she never separated from him or went after child support because it wasn't the right thing to do. Okay. While I was watching TV with my new nieces, I heard my husband call for me. His mom then said,
"Well, how Julie doesn't want us in her house."
I don't even know how that conversation started, but suddenly both of them were staring at me like... My husband said she was being sarcastic. No. So I said, yeah, I told my husband that if his dad keeps insisting on moving in, I'd tell you. She hates that man, so she immediately snapped and said,
"What? He wants to move in with you guys?"
I said, I told my husband to tell him he has a wife to take care of. It's not my fault he got remarried. He's a full-grown adult looking for refuge at his newlywed son's house. He shouldn't even ask because my answer is no. Ooh, did he actually ask? Wait, did I miss something? I feel like you're just saying that. She went on a rant about how he doesn't have a right to ask because he's never done anything. I cut her off and said, I like having my house, I like having rules, and I wouldn't give it up for anything. Now, my brother-in-law's 2 years are almost up. I told my husband that since we're planning to start our master's program this year, maybe his brother could stay another 2 years until we finish. However, if his mom is planning on moving to our state, his brother would need to move out and get an apartment for both of them. My husband is worried that his mom won't stay long and will leave his brother alone in the apartment. I told him that's on his mom. She has to decide if she's actually going to commit to staying. She's constantly jumping from place to place. Now here's where I wonder if I'm the a-hole. I told my husband his mom can only stay 1 month. He said it will take however long it takes for her to find a place. I told him that if she's moving here, she needs to plan on moving out with her youngest son. It's not my fault. She can't plan. If she leaves her son alone in that apartment because she can't commit to staying in one place, that's on her. I feel like my husband thinks I'm being unfair, but I don't owe her anything. So, am I the a-hole? I feel like you're being like really generous already as it is. I think it would be one thing if you and his mom had like a better relationship, or if she's helped you out in any way, shape, or form. But it kind of just sounds like she hasn't done that like at all. People in the comments are like, I'm surprised you even said she could stay for a month. That's my thing, is like a month is a long time, but also it's long enough that she's gonna get comfortable, and like I would highly doubt that she would leave. Like I'm just saying, more often than not, these situations turn into them outstaying their welcome. Once they're in, they're very hard to get rid of. Just saying. Listen, you can help family and friends out, they can stay, but just be prepared. If they have nowhere else to go, they're gonna end up staying. His mother probably won't leave after the month is over either. Then the husband, mother-in-law, and brother-in-law will all gang up on her about the mother-in-law staying longer. And then other people are pointing out this is a husband problem, not just a mother-in-law problem. Yeah, I hate to say it, OP, but I don't love how your husband's acting. There's something about the way that he's not putting your feelings first that I really, really don't like. She won't ever leave, and every time you bring it up, everyone will act like you are the bad guy, including your spineless husband who already lets her mistreat you without a word. Yeah, that part. You need to put your foot down. I honestly, like, you already kind of said that you were gonna let her live there for a month. I wouldn't have even done that. You know, I get it, the pressures, like you don't want to seem like an asshole. I'm just saying it's gonna be very hard to get rid of her. You are not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for changing my niece's strip name when I got custody? I beg your finest pardon. I think it will become obvious that my sister and I have taken very different paths in life. I love her very much, but she's not well. I've had custody of my niece since she was 6 months old. My sister is going to jail for at least the next 7 years. She's ineligible for parole for that long, so that's a minimum. My niece's name is the perfect example of my sister's thought process. Honest to God, she named her Cinnamon, pronounced cinnamon. Okay. I have had my sister's parental rights severed. My parents and her fought me on it. Don't care. My parents have never contributed to her upbringing, but they have given lots of unwanted advice. I adopted my daughter and changed her name to Simone. My parents think I'm being cruel to my sister. What my sister thinks is not allowed here. The filters told me that particular obscenity wasn't part of the posts here. It starts with a C. Try it yourself if you don't believe me. I believe you. So I feel completely justified in changing her name. I do not think I'm wrong. I'm not looking for validation. I want to know if I'm missing something that my parents and sister can't communicate coherently. It would be one thing, like, your niece was, like, named after your sister. Listen, she's your daughter. You adopted her. She was young enough that you could have changed her name. Simone is a nice name. Quite frankly, it kind of just seems like your sister didn't make the right choices. I would argue that you're doing her a solid by adopting her daughter while she goes to jail. Your niece could have ended up in a much worse situation. Like, if she ended up in the system, there's no telling how terrible her upbringing could have been. Just stating facts, okay? If you grew up in the system and you had a good time, then great. But a lot of the time, it ain't so great, okay? It's kind of luck of the draw. Yeah, I fail to understand why, like, you're the one that now has to take care of your niece and you can't make decisions as her parent. I think that your sister gave up that right to choose when she went to jail. So, you are clearly and undeniably not the a-hole, but that title, I initially read it like you had dropped at a stripper and wanted to change their professional name. As you might imagine, I was a bit confused. I was too. I was like, is this like appropriate for YouTube? It's just like a kind of inappropriate, like the name Cinnamon is just sort of like what you would call your spicy dancer name. It's not like her actual name as a spicy dancer. Right. Not the a-hole. Your child is gonna thank you later. Yeah, I think so. It would be one thing if your niece was like named after your sister, but she named her child like Cinnamon. It ain't that great of a name, I'm just saying. Not a hill that you need to die on. And I think Simone is like a good alternative. Not the a-hole. I think you've made a really nice transition of her name. That sounds great and is much easier to pronounce. The courts do not terminate parental rights on a whim. You've stepped up and kept your niece in the family and are now her mom. This clearly wasn't easy. You went through the trouble of going through the courts and making it so your niece doesn't end up in the system. In most scenarios like this, it's actually quite difficult. Don't they have to go through like a lot of court processes to do this and like petition or something? I don't know. I just know like adopting someone and not having that person go through the system, it's not an easy thing. So yeah, like I said, you did the family a solid and they can sit down. Not the a-hole. And don't worry, I saved the craziest family drama story for last. Am I the a-hole for laughing about my ex-mother-in-law pooping her pants at the ballet? For context, my ex and I have been divorced since 2020. He was an a-hole and I had to get myself and our 3 kids out of the situation. My ex-mother-in-law, we'll call her Carol, has always been a huge problem as well. She inserted herself into our marriage in a very invasive way, and my ex thought she was God's gift to earth. Anything I did, he would tell me how she would do it. He even told me she was great at doing her makeup and could give me some pointers as I was doing my makeup one morning. Okay. I neither asked for nor needed any help with that. Very often I'd say something to my ex and he would debate or disregard it, only to hear the same thing from his mother and act like it was wisdom from heaven, which only she could have possibly received. This is literally my biggest pet peeve. Like when you say something that's like a fact and like a dude will just like not believe you until he hears it from like another source, and then he like pretends that that's like the first time he heard it. Oh my God. I hate it so much. This woman also happens to be bat crazy and thinks she's some kind of prophet. She wrote a book about all her supernatural experiences in which she included the story of how my ex and I met and the story of our first child's birth and death. Oh, sorry to hear. She never asked if it was okay to include any of that. I would have said, hell no. So your mother-in-law is a piece of work? Ex-mother-in-law. Important distinction. As an example of her sanity, one story in her book is how she had written a letter to Princess Diana, and on the night Princess Diana was murdered, on her way to heaven, she first stopped in Carol's bedroom to tell her how much the letter meant to her. Of course, I could write my own book on other insane things she's said and done. I wouldn't not read it. Until recently, I had not spoken to her in years. Back in 2019, when I was still trying to salvage that crap show of a marriage, I told her she needed to let our marriage be between me and my ex. She called me disrespectful and rude, and she blocked me everywhere and never spoke to me again, much to my relief. Oh no. Then my ex kept telling me she wanted to talk to me, but I needed to be the one to start the conversation. No. You blocked her. So we hadn't spoken for 5 years. Recently, she's been wanting to see the kids, which is a first. My ex is on supervised visits, and unfortunately, I was kind of forced to put my ex-in-laws as supervisors when we were first separated. If they want to see the kids, I kind of can't stop them. I've been friendly since she has been friendly, and we haven't had any issues yet. For Christmas, she wanted to take the kids to the Nutcracker, so we went to the theater, and this is where it gets totally crazy. She met us at the elevator in the theater, and she shoved her phone with the QR ticket into my hand, saying, I have to go to the bathroom. She bolted, and my daughter went as well. After a few minutes, I went to check on my daughter, who's 7. I opened the bathroom door and could see the stall where Carol was. The smell smacked me in the face. As soon as I opened the door, on the floor of her stall, I saw smeared brown streaks. Oh my. Where she had obviously crapped on the floor and tried to wipe it off. Get the hell out of here! She said for us to go in and she would be there shortly. If it had been me or really any other sane person, I would have said I needed to go home, but not Carol. Nope, Carol loves the ballet and thinks she's a good dancer because she took ballet as a child. Apparently, the show must go on even if you're just a balcony spectator. Hang on. She's gonna smell like Dookie. And I wouldn't be surprised if, actually, I mean, the title kind of gives it away, but like, something tells me the pipes are not clean. Anyway, my 3 kids and I went into the theater, first row of the balcony. About 10 minutes later, here she came. The row was packed and the walkway's very narrow, so she squeezed past 7 people to get to the seat next to my oldest son. The smell of and way too much old lady perfume wafted my way, and my poor son got as close to me as he could. I mean, I gotta hand it to her. This lady really wanted to see her grandkids, and not even shitting her pants in public was gonna stop her. I looked over to see this woman pulling the back of her skirt around her knees and literally wiping crap off. Oh. In the intermission, my son switched places with me, and when we finally got back to the car, he said,
That was awful, because I could tell Mimi took a big dump in her pants.
correct. Here's where I might be the a-hole. I've told this story to a couple of friends because I thought it was in a very dark way hilarious karma. Oh, it absolutely is. This woman has tormented me for years, claims spiritual superiority, inserted herself into my marriage, and somehow still thought the Nutcracker must go on despite actively shitting herself. My friend said it was just sad and I should feel bad for her. I'm sorry, no world in which shitting your pants is not funny. It is funny in any language, at any age. It's embarrassing, don't get me wrong, but hey, we've all been there. And listen, yes, objectively, it's sad. Okay, but it's also the fact she still wanted to sit through the Nutcracker despite being covered in shit. If this had been literally any other woman on earth, I would have felt nothing but sympathy. But because it was Carol, the self-proclaimed prophet who once told me Princess Diana visited her bedroom, I cannot stop finding it ironic. I have not said anything to her. I haven't mocked her. I haven't told the kids it was funny. Okay, so then what's the issue here? Okay, from the title, it made me think that you had like laughed in her face. You didn't. You're just laughing behind her back. My amusement is entirely private and mostly expressed through shocked retellings to close friends. So am I the a-hole for finding this funny instead of tragic? Does she have like IBS or something? Is she so old that she's wearing diapers? She just her pants. Based on what you've shared, she doesn't have like any sort of medical condition that like made her her pants. So like it happens, you know? And I think it's funny. Update. There's more crap to talk about. Pun intended. So I wasn't originally gonna mention this, but there aren't really many people I can laugh about this with. We can laugh together. This is a safe space. Since I've gotten so many messages, thanks for that. Y'all are making me laugh. I thought I might as well tell you why my mom was the first person I called after the ballet incident. For a bit of foreshadowing, I said, Mom, you don't have to feel so bad about the flower pot anymore. I beg your finest pardon. This past Thanksgiving, I took my kids to visit their dad and his parents, yay for Carol. They live about an hour and a half away, and I don't know anyone else in the area. My mom decided to come along for the trip, and we went to dinner together. After about 3 hours, I went to get the kids at the time we agreed upon. But as usual, my ex and his family weren't keeping track of time, so I had to wait around in their living room for at least half an hour while they finished up doing whatever they were doing. Meanwhile, my mom stayed in the car, not really caring to see any of them. Now, mind you, my own mom is also a character, to say the least. She's a drama queen for sure, but she's not a prophet, and she couldn't have predicted that she would have had a sudden onset of upset stomach. My mom has some difficulty getting around these days, and my ex's in-laws live in a house on a hill. She would have had to walk up the hill in the dark to get to the door. Unbeknownst to me, mom was texting me saying she really needed to go to the bathroom and it was becoming an emergency. She sent 4 texts over 10 minutes, which I never saw until we were back in the car. Finally, I got the kids out the door down the hill, fastened the belts, and my mom goes, "Go, go, go! We gotta get out of here." I had no clue. So I drove off, confused, and once we were safely out of sight, she tells me, in coded mom language because kids are listening, that she had an urgent nature situation and had to take drastic action. Let's just say one of my ex-in-laws' large decorative flower pots is now the site of a memorable Thanksgiving miracle. I was appalled, but also howling with laughter, as was she. I mean, I can't condone desecrating people's flower pots, but it was these people. The man who abused me and the in-laws who had been so horrible. Needless to say, after the ballet, I called my mom and said, "Don't feel so bad about the flower pot, Mom." This is so much worse. I would say that if you had laughed in her face, that would have been much worse, I think. It's also just like, why did she continue to sit there? Anyone else, would have left and just dealt with it, right? It could have just been like okay, we'll figure out another time to meet up. Oh my God, on the floor too. The fact that she pooed on the floor. I don't think that this would have been as serious if she didn't insist upon sitting through the ballet while covered in probably reeking of Chanel No. 5. I can't. No, I'm gonna go with not the a-hole, but let's see what everybody else had to say. Not the a-hole happens. There's very few instances in life that are just undoubtedly funny, They're embarrassing, sure, but that's what makes life glorious, right? Hell, I pooped my pants and the first thing I do is tell people because it's funny. I want to brighten people's day, right? It's rare, but it's so funny. Your friends are just party poopers. Not the a-hole. I feel worse for the janitorial staff that had to clean the seat in the balcony in the bathroom than your ex-mother-in-law. I actually would agree with that. That's a biohazard. I'm sorry, but it really is. You are not the a-hole.